Do I matter? I really hope I matter. Wait a minute. We all matter because everything is made of matter. Matter takes up space and, oh, it has mass, so that means I matter and you matter. So today we want to figure out how we actually classify matter. So let's look at our handy dandy chart right here. Basically, matter is split into 4 different categories. We have elements, we have compounds, we have homogeneous mixtures, and heterogeneous mixtures. Elements and compounds are in the category of pure substances, and then obviously heterogeneous and homogeneous are in the category of mixtures. First, let's talk about what all these are. Let's concentrate on the element right here. So an element is basically something that you find on the periodic table. So things on the periodic table, there's a ton of them, but things like iron, things like gold, things like hydrogen, anything you find on the periodic table is an element. Whereas things that are compounds, compounds is when you have 2 or more elements combined through some sort of chemical bond. One that comes to your mind all the time, water. You might also think salt, which is sodium chloride. Thing about elements and compounds. Elements and compounds, they're both pure substances because they have a constant property and composition. You're probably saying, you know, what the heck does that even mean, constant composition? But what a constant composition is if you look at water down here, water has 2 hydrogen for every oxygen. And no matter how much water you put in, you're always going to have 2 hydrogen for every oxygen. It is a constant composition. If it does not have a constant composition, that means that we are dealing with a mixture. So let's look at the 2 different kinds of mixtures. Oops. Our first kind of mixture, we'll look at the homogeneous mixture. When you think of homogeneous mixture, you're thinking same. So a homogeneous mixture, you cannot see the different parts. So you can't see different parts. Examples of a homogeneous mixture might be something like salt water. Because if you mix salt really well enough in water, you're not going to be able to see the salt in the water. They look like one thing. The other kind of mixture is a heterogeneous mixture. Hetero means different, so that means you're dealing with a mixture where you can see different parts. And I like to think of pizza. Because in a pizza, you know, you can see the different parts, you can see the cheese, you can see the sauce, you can see the pepperoni. And importantly, a pizza is still a pizza if you have 2 pepperoni versus like 5 pepperoni. It doesn't have a constant composition. And so if you have 2 pepperonis versus 5 pepperonis, it's still a pizza. Okay, so let's go look at some different examples of these different types of matter. So I set up a bunch here. Let's take a look at this one to start. This one is hydrogen peroxide. Hydrogen peroxide is actually a compound, and it's H2O2. So right away you think this is a compound, but if you look closely, it's only 3% hydrogen peroxide, meaning that this contains water and hydrogen peroxide. So therefore, this one right here would be a homogeneous solution. So let's circle that. We'll circle it in red. That one's a homogeneous solution because if you look at it, you can't see the different parts of it, but there's 2 or more pure substances. This one right here, ascorbic acid or vitamin C. Ascorbic acid, if you look closely, you can see the formula right there. That is a compound right there. So ascorbic acid is a compound. So we need to look at either an element or a heterogeneous mixture. Right here, we can see two different parts. There's two different pure substances. So this oil and water is an example of a heterogeneous mixture. And then if we go right over here, we got our favorite aluminum foil. That's just straight up aluminum from the periodic table. So that's an example of an element.